Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of The Candy Bombers, the untold story of the Berlin Airlift and America's Finest Hour, by Andrei Cherny, narrated by Jonathan Davis, and directed by Tiana Kennedy. This book is copyrighted 2008 by Andrei Cherny. This recording is copyrighted 2008 by Recorded Books. The author opens this book with the following two epigraphs. The first is a quote from Theodore H. White. Two middle-aged ladies were sitting at the table behind me that day, the only other customers of the meal. They had come, they said, because when the Americans liberated Paris, a young American lieutenant had slept in their house. He had brought coffee, soap, food, butter, when all Paris hungered at the mention of them. When he moved off with his company, they asked him what they could do to repay him. He said there was nothing they could do for him. But if someday they ever got the chance to visit Omaha Beach and the cemetery that was going to be built there, would they put some flowers on the graves of a few friends he had left behind? They said they would. And so, 7 years later, they took a bus from Paris to put flowers on American graves. Not because they remembered history and the liberation, but because they remembered coffee, food, and human kindness. The second epigraph that begins this history is a quote from a popular German song from 1942. Things all go past, and they fade away. After each December, there comes another May. And now, The Candy Bombers.
Prologue, September 2001. On the lower tip of the island of Manhattan, fires trapped deep beneath the twisted metal girders were still burning. In great cities around the globe, people gathered to express their outrage and their sympathy. Hundreds of Londoners stood in silence when Big Ben rang at noon. When the guard changed at Buckingham Palace, the band played a song about the American flag still waving after a failed British assault on Fort McHenry. In Beijing and Amman, bouquets and wreaths piled high at the gates of the American embassies. In Dublin, the stores closed in commemoration. Children in the West Bank held candlelight vigils. In Paris, the newspaper headline was, "We are all Americans." But nowhere was there a greater outpouring of humanity and emotion than in the German capital of Berlin. There, 200,000 people gathered along the broad avenue leading through the Tiergarten to the Brandenburg Gate. No one was quite sure why so many turned out. The crowd felt young. Men and women in their 20s wore backpacks and shorts under the late summer sun. Parents pushed strollers and held children by the hand in the enormous throng. One woman stood still, alone in the crowd, lost in her thoughts as families and couples marched past her. She was old and stooped. Her hair was wild, and she wore a dark, heavy coat even on the warm day. She was quietly sobbing. Two young men approached her and asked why she was crying. She seemed startled, as if roused from a slumber. "I love Americans," she said quickly, in a way that was so